Hello viewers. In this video, I'm going to discuss about various tests which we can perform to distinguish aldehydes and ketones. That means if a compound is given to us and we know that this compound is a carbonyl compound, and now we have to identify that whether this carbonyl compound is an aldehyde or a ketone, then what are the various tests which we can perform to identify the aldehyde and ketone. Now the basis of this separation, this identification is a chemical reaction, that is oxidation of aldehydes and ketones. Now, aldehydes are very easily oxidized to carboxylic acids. This is aldehyde group, and on oxidation, it is giving carboxylic acid. Okay, oxidation of aldehydes is easy as it involves the conversion of hydrogen atom into OH group without cleavage of any other bond. That means when we oxidize aldehyde, there is no cleavage is required. Only this hydrogen atom is getting converted into OH group. So that is, it is insertion of oxygen atom. So the oxidation of aldehydes is very easy. Hence, they are oxidized by even weak oxidizing agents, or you can say mild oxidizing agents like bromine water, Tollens reagent, Fehling solution, Benedict solution, etc. Now, let's discuss about the oxidation of ketones. Now, if we have to oxidize a ketone, let us take, we have to oxidize this acetone, then the cleavage of the carbon-carbon bond takes place. See here, this is acetone. It is a symmetrical molecule, so you can do the cleavage on this side or cleavage on this side. Doesn't make any difference. But let's see, we do the cleavage here, and then we will see that this part goes out as formic acid and this part goes out as acetic acid. So when we oxidize acetone, then the rupturing of bond takes place and we will get a mixture of two acids of less number of carbon atoms. As you can see here, in acetone 3 carbon atoms are there, but when we oxidize this, we will get formic acid and acetic acid. Okay, acetic acid means 2 carbon acid, formic acid is 1 carbon acid. So from 3 carbon compound, we are getting mixture of lower acids. And since the cleavage is required, therefore ketones require a strong condition to oxidize, and therefore they cannot be oxidized by weak oxidizing agents like aldehydes. Hence, mild oxidizing agents can be used to distinguish aldehydes from ketones. So this is the basis of identification, that we will use mild oxidizing agents. They will oxidize only aldehydes, and ketones will not be able to oxidize by the mild oxidizing agents. So the various mild oxidizing agents which we'll use in this video to distinguish the aldehydes from ketones are: number 1, Tollens reagent; number 2, Fehling solution; and number 3, Benedict solution. So these are the 3 mild oxidizing agents which we'll use in this video to explain that how we can use these agents to distinguish aldehydes from ketones. Now, the first is the Tollens test. In Tollens test, we use Tollens reagent, which is nothing but the ammonical silver nitrate. How we can prepare the Tollens reagent? Sodium hydroxide is added to a solution of silver nitrate drop by drop until a light brown precipitate is formed. So take the solution of silver nitrate and we'll add sodium hydroxide dropwise till we get light brown precipitate. Now this is the chemical equation which is involved. Silver nitrate reacts with sodium hydroxide to give silver oxide. So the brown precipitate is due to the formation of silver oxide and then the sodium nitrate and water molecule. So this is the chemical equation involved. Now concentrated ammonia solution is added in this reaction mixture drop by drop until the brown precipitate is dissolved completely. So we are adding now the concentrated ammonia solution to dissolve this brown precipitate, but the addition should be done drop by drop to dissolve the complete brown precipitate of silver oxide. Now this is the chemical equation involved. This is silver oxide, sodium nitrate and water molecule is already there in the reaction mixture. So when we'll add ammonia into it, then we'll get this. This is the Tollens reagent, or you can say ammonical silver nitrate. And here the silver ion is in +1 oxid. The silver is in +1 oxidation state. Ammonical silver ion it is in +1 oxidation state. And sodium hydroxide is regenerated. You can see here that the sodium hydroxide is involved in the reaction and it is regenerated. And therefore, this helps in maintaining the needed pH balance in the reaction mixture. Okay. So when aldehyde is heated with Tollens reagent, it is oxidized to corresponding acid and reduced Tollens reagent into metallic silver. I think all of you know that oxidation and reduction reactions always take place simultaneously. That means one compound will be oxidized, then the other compound will be reduced. So one is oxidation reaction and second is a reduction reaction. In this case, aldehyde is getting oxidized to acid and Tollens reagent is getting reduced to metallic silver. Okay, so that means aldehyde is giving acid and Tollens reagent is giving metallic silver. This metallic silver gets deposit on the wall of the test tube in which you are carrying out the reaction, and that test tube now shines like a mirror, and therefore this test is also called as silver mirror test. Okay, so first let's see the equation which is involved in this test. So this is aldehyde molecule. This is a Tollens reagent. Now aldehyde molecule is getting oxidized to acid, but since in the reaction mixture excess of ammonia is there and ammonia is acting as a base, so base will react with acid to form the salt and therefore the ammonium salt of the acid. Okay, so this is the oxidation reaction. Aldehyde is getting oxidized to acid. Okay, and what about the Tollens reagent? Tollens reagent, see here the silver ion, the silver is present in the +1 oxidation state, and here it is a metallic silver which is in the 0 oxidation state. So that means the Tollens reagent will get reduced to silver metal. Okay, and this is a silver metal which gets deposit to the side of the wall to shine like a mirror, or you can get a black or grayish black precipitate of the metallic silver. So this is the positive Tollens test. These are the observations for the positive Tollens test, that if the compound, the carbonyl compound, when you add Tollens reagent and you are getting the blackish gray precipitate or the silver mirror, then it is a positive test for Tollens reagent and therefore the carbonyl compound is an aldehyde. And the advantage of this test is that this test can be used for both aliphatic as well as aromatic aldehydes. That means both aliphatic and aromatic aldehydes give this test positive. I hope this test is clear to everyone. So now I am moving to the second test, that is Fehling test. So in Fehling test we are using Fehling solution. Now what is Fehling solution? It is an alkaline solution of copper sulfate containing some Rochelle salt, that is sodium potassium tartrate. Now tartrate, that is tartric acid. Tartric acid is a 4-carbon compound where it is a dicarboxylic acid, means 2 COH group is present. So this is in tartric acid. So COH and see 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4-carbon compound with 2 COH group, and COH groups are always present at the terminal positions, and in second and third position OH group is present. That is tartric acid, and here it is sodium potassium tartrate, means one of the acid is present in the form of sodium salt and another as the potassium salt. So this is sodium potassium tartrate. Now what is the role of sodium potassium tartrate? In Fehling solution, copper 2 tartrate is present as an active component. Copper 2 tartrate is there, and since this complex is not so stable and so always prepared fresh, we have to use Fehling solution, always the fresh Fehling solution. Similarly, in the Tollens reagent also we have to always use the freshly prepared Tollens reagent. Now since we have to use the freshly prepared Fehling solution, then how we can prepare it? Then we have to mix the equal volume of Fehling solution A, which is copper sulfate solution, and Fehling solution B, which is alkaline solution of Rochelle salt, just before the reaction. That is, we have two solutions, Fehling solution A and Fehling solution B. Fehling solution A is copper sulfate solution. Fehling solution B is alkaline solution of Rochelle salt. When we have to carry out the reaction, then we will mix these two, Fehling A and Fehling B, in equal amount just before the reaction, as we have seen that this complex is not stable. Now we have to find out that what is the requirement, why we need copper 2 tartrate. Okay, so this is the reason behind that. Mixing cupric ions with an alkaline solution would result in the formation of cupric hydroxide, which is low water soluble or less water soluble. So when the cupric ion is there and the medium is alkaline, then cupric ion gets converted into cupric hydroxide, which has less water solubility. That means that the copper ion will not, or very less concentration or amount of copper ion will be present in the alkaline solution. So what is the role of tartrate ion? The role of the tartrate ion is to form the complex with the copper ion and therefore prevent the formation of cupric hydroxide. And hence now the copper ions will be dissolved in the alkaline solution. So the role of the tartrate ion is to convert the copper ion into copper 2 tartrate complex, so that now the copper ions will be dissolved in the alkaline solution, and therefore we require copper 2 tartrate. That is the active part. Okay. Now, how the reaction is taking place? When aldehyde is heating with the Fehling solution, it is oxidized to corresponding acid. So it is oxidation, aldehyde to acid, and the Fehling solution is getting reduced to red precipitate of cuprous oxide, that is Cu2O. Now this is the chemical reaction involved. Aldehyde is getting oxidized to carboxylate ion, and this is the Fehling solution, and Fehling solution is reduced to cuprous oxide. As I told you, it is the redox reaction. So aldehyde getting oxidized to carboxylate ion, and the Fehling solution, here the oxidation state is +2. Copper is in +2, and here copper is in the cuprous oxide, copper is in +1. So +2 to +1 means reduction. So Fehling solution is getting reduced and aldehyde is getting oxidized to carboxylate ion. So the red precipitate is due to the formation of cuprous oxide. So if the compound is an aldehyde, then you will get red precipitate when you will treat your compound with the Fehling solution. Now, aromatic aldehydes do not reduce Fehling solution. That means if let's see the example benzaldehyde, the simplest aromatic aldehyde, that if you take benzaldehyde and you heat it with the Fehling solution, although it is an aldehyde group, it will not give red precipitate when heated or treated with Fehling solution. Now, what is the reason behind this? This carbonyl group, this is the carbonyl group. You know it is an electron withdrawing group, and by the resonance, it withdraws electron density from the benzene ring. This benzene ring is highly electron rich. So the pi electron density moves towards the oxygen and this bond will shift here. So there basically this pi electrons are, by the resonance, it increases the electron density, or you can say it reduces the electrophilicity of this carbon. Electrophilicity, that is positive charge, the partial positive charge on this carbon is reduced due to the resonance that the electrons are provided by the benzene ring. And therefore, tendency of this carbon to take up the electrons from this CH bond is reduced. That means this CH bond is less polar. Polarity of this CH bond is reduced. And if the polarity is reduced, that means this bond becomes strong. And if this bond is strong, and we know that in the aldehyde, the oxygen get inserted, and if this bond is strong, that means you require stronger conditions to insert oxygen here. Now, Fehling solution is comparatively a weaker oxidizing agent than Tollens reagent. Although both of them, Fehling solution as well as Tollens reagent, both of them are mild oxidizing agent. When we compare the oxidizing agent nature of the Fehling solution and Tollens reagent, then the Fehling solution is a weaker oxidizing agent. Therefore, it is not capable to oxidize an aromatic aldehyde. Therefore, the Fehling test is given only by the aliphatic aldehydes and not by the aromatic aldehydes. Okay. So, now the third test, that is the Benedict's test. Now in the Benedict's test, the Benedict solution is used, which is an alkaline solution of copper sulfate containing citrate ions. Okay. In Fehling solution, it was tartrate ion, while in Benedict solution, it is citrate ion. Now, in the Fehling solution, we are taking Fehling solution A and Fehling solution B, and then we will mix just before the reaction. But in Benedict solution, you can prepare the Benedict solution in advance. No fresh Benedict solution is required. Now, Benedict solution is made up of anhydrous sodium carbonate, sodium citrate, and copper sulfate. Now, what is the role of sodium carbonate? Sodium carbonate provides the alkaline conditions which are required for the redox reaction. Because we have seen that in the redox reaction, alkaline medium is required. So that alkaline conditions is provided by sodium carbonate. Then sodium citrate complexes with the copper 2 ions to keep copper 2 plus solution in the solution, which would be otherwise precipitate as cupric carbonate. Since you are using the alkaline condition, the sodium carbonate, as to provide the alkaline conditions, so if you are not using the sodium citrate, then the Cu2 plus, the cupric ion, will be present as cupric carbonate, which is a precipitate. Therefore, the Cu2 positive will not be in the solution. So keep Cu2 positive into the solution. We have to take sodium citrate. So sodium citrate, what is the role of the sodium citrate? That it form complex with the copper 2 ion as the copper 2 citrate, and therefore now the copper ion will be in the solution. So the Benedict solution contains copper 2 citrate. So in Fehling solution, it is copper 2 tartrate, while in Benedict solution, it is copper 2 citrate. Okay. Now, when aldehyde is heated with Benedict solution, it is oxidized to corresponding acid. As Benedict solution is a mild oxidizing agent, and therefore it will oxidize aldehyde into acid, and the aldehyde will reduce Benedict solution into red precipitate of cuprous oxide. So similar reaction. Aldehyde is getting oxidized to carboxylate ion, and the Benedict solution, because it is the Cu2 plus and hydroxide ion, which is also present in the Fehling solution. This is also present in the Benedict solution. So it is getting reduced from +2 to +1, cuprous oxide. And like Fehling solution, aromatic aldehydes do not reduce Benedict solution also. That means if you have to test the aromatic aldehydes, tolerance test is the positive test, while the test with the Benedict solution and the Fehling solution, you will get negative test for aromatic aldehydes. Now I am showing that if you have to perform the experiment, this is what till now we have discussed, what is the chemistry which is involved in all these three tests. Now I'll tell you that if you have to perform the test, then how will you perform it? So this is how you can make the observation table. So it is experiment, observation, inference. In experiment, to the 1 ml of tolerance reagent, 2-3 drops of carbonyl compound is added in the test tube. Warm the solution in a hot water bath. A grey-black precipitate or silver mirror is formed. This I have already explained, that why we are getting the grey-black precipitate or silver mirror. It is due to the formation of metallic silver. Okay. So compound is an aldehyde. This is the observation. This is just to show you that the test tube, see the test tube shines like a mirror. So this is silver mirror. Now the intensity of the mirror, the silver mirror, this test, this observation varies with the concentration of the reagents and the compound used. So therefore it can change. So this is just for your observation that you will get this type of silver mirror as a positive test in the tolerance test. Now this is the Fehling test. Heat the mixture of the given compound, 2-3 drops, and 2 ml of Fehling solution by mixing equal amounts of Fehling A and Fehling B. That means 1 ml of Fehling A plus 1 ml of Fehling B. Mix the two and then add 2-3 drops of your compound and then heat the mixture. A brick red precipitate of cuprous oxide is formed. Then compound is an aldehyde. Okay, and again here you have to note this thing, that this is given by only the aliphatic aldehydes and not the aromatic aldehydes. This is the observation. As you can see here, this is the brick red precipitate and this is the blue color of the copper ion. So this is the positive test. If you get this is positive test, and if the color of the test tube, the color of the solution in the test tube is like this, then it is a negative test. Again, the intensity of the positive, this red brick precipitate, may vary depending upon the concentration of the reagents and the compound you have taken. But for the reference sake, I have given that this is the positive test and this is the negative test. Now the Benedict's test. So heat the mixture of the given compound 2-3 drops and 1 ml of Benedict solution in a bath or boiling water bath for 3 to 5 minutes. So in the test tube you have to take 1 ml of the Benedict solution, 2-3 drops of the carbonyl compound, and when you heat it in a boiling water bath for 3 to 5 minutes, a brick red precipitate of again cuprous oxide is formed. Then compound is an aldehyde, and that too it is an aliphatic aldehyde, not an aromatic aldehyde. Again the observation. Now you can have the idea. This is the positive test. This is the negative test. Now the last. Although the topic of today's discussion is that how we can use the oxidation method, that is a mild oxidizing agent, to distinguish aldehydes from ketones. But here I am discussing one more test, which is the test for ketones, and this is the specific test for ketones, that is the Legal's test. And in the Legal's test, in the test tube we take 2-3 drops of organic compound, add sodium nitroprusside solution and sodium hydroxide solution into it. A red color is formed. So the color of the solution changes to red. Then the compound, carbonyl compound group, is a ketonic group. That means the carbonyl compound which is given to you is a ketone. Now this is the test for Legal's test. This is a chemical reaction. Acetone reacts with base to give the carbon ion. These hydrogens which are present on the carbon alpha to the carbonyl group are acidic in nature. So OH negative, that is hydroxide ion, is acting as a base and it will abstract this alpha hydrogens which are acidic in nature. Here these are the symmetrical carbons. So you can abstract the hydrogen from any of the carbon to form the carbon ion. If you want to know the details of this, you can see my video on the reaction of carbonyl compounds, where I have explained that how and why these hydrogens which are present on the carbon are acidic in nature. So the carbon ion is generated, and this is sodium nitroprusside. We have taken sodium nitroprusside in the test. So this is the complex sodium nitroprusside, and this react with the carbon ion generated after the abstraction of the alpha hydrogen from the carbonyl compound. You get this, and this is red color. So the red color solution in the ketone Legal test is due to the formation of this complex. Now this is the red color solution. So this is the positive test. So if you get red color solution in the Legal test, it is the positive test for the ketone. So I hope it is clear to everyone that what are the various tests which we can perform to distinguish aldehydes from ketones. Thanks for watching.